guys, how are you all? Hope so you all are doing well. Okay, so let's start the story. Without any further conversation, this is the last part of the story, okay? Jimin is walking. He's walking back and forth in the room thinking what? Said Yoongi, don't tell him something like this. And moreover, no one tell him also something like this again. This happens. He is thinking when he heard was Jimin Yoongi. He whispered as he heard Yoongi's voice. He looked at the stone in his hand which is shining. He understands Yoongi is talking with him. Jimin, you can listen me? He think and close his eyes. You are... Jimin heard Yoongi's voice and he smiled. How are you, Yoongi? All fine. You tell me had dinner, Jimin? Yeah, I do. So something, Yoongi, yeah. You can tell me, Jimin, you go. But I am, he said, and Jimin. And Jimin can, Yoongi is smiling. Jimin, you are smiling, right? Yoongi, really? Jimin, so what, huh? This is not, huh? You are, if I don't, for whom I do, huh? Yoongi, you are right. Just for some days, Jimin, huh? Come, I don't let you go anywhere. For 1 week, you stay here with me, he said, and Yoongi smiled. Yoongi, really? Okay then, I am ready. Jimin, Yoongi, actually, there is something else. Yoongi, what? Jimin, stay silent. Jimin, nothing, you tell me. He don't talk with Yoongi. What? Mrs. Min said. He started to talk with Yoongi. He on the and they both talk for some time, and Jimin don't know when he sleep while talking with Yoongi. Next day, Jimin is sleeping when the door opened. She entered in the room. She see the stone Jimin hold in his hand. She carefully took the stone and looked at him. Min, you think yesterday I don't see this? How can I let you when I am from the which is given by you? She said and go from there. Just after some hours, Jimin slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the ceiling and then he looked at his hand. Where is the Yoongi gave him? Jimin hurriedly stand up and start to find in the whole room. He remembered he is talking with Yoongi when he fell in sleep, and is in his hand. He find the stone again and again in the room, on the everywhere, but he can't. Now how can he talk? He talked with Yoongi. Jimin, the whole room fell from his eyes. What he do now? And then the door opened. Min enter in the room. She see the room and said the maids to stay here. Jimin looked at her and looking down as now all he cared about the stone. Min, this is what you learned from your Jimin. No, Min, it's nothing like that. I am finding something, Min. This is why I am saying said no to be the Jimin looked at her. Jimin, can we talk about this later? Someone try to talk with me like this. I give the person and no one asks me. Even the person from a family. Jimin, I'm sorry. I'm just finding something, so he said, looking down. He don't know what he do. She and his face. Jimin looked at her with eyes as he saw for the stone. Missing ya, she said, and Jimin stayed silent. He looking down his lashes. How you are, huh? The don't this much. What you said? She asked from the maids. Maids, yeah, right. We also don't want to be the. Jimin see the one is silent. She don't said anything and looking down. and Min start to laughing along with them. Min don't come out from the room. I sent something for you to eat and eat what I sent you as you are late. The breakfast time is already finished. We are person who is so punctual. Hope so you understand. She said and go. Jimin feels so he sit on the bed and they go. Jimin is lost in his thoughts like what he do now. He does not also how can he talk with YoOngI and what Min said it's making him so how can he handle everything he's really not able to be a how can he be like this? The door open, mates come with the breakfast and sit in front of him. He don't said anything and start to do the breakfast. He take the of juice and start Jimin, what is this? Mate, this is juice. It's good for you. She said, and Jimin didn't said anything. He the whole glass and then take some water. The maid take the plates and she go. Jimin sit on the bed. He start. How can he la his shown like this? He spent the whole day in the room and then come in the room. From when YoOngI go, she start to a lot. She plays the glass of juice and Jimin see her. She is smiling. When YoOngI go, he tell me, I take care of you. Jimin, I can't find my straw. It's so important. No one come in your room. See once again. Jimin, I do, but I can't. What I said here. Said you are so. Leave that. Drink this juice. She said. Then Jimin take that juice. He silently. He's still on the storm where he kept it. Don't remember. Come downstairs and do dinner with us, she said, and Jimin nodded. She go from there. Jimin YoOngI must be for me. He think can fresh up, then he go downstairs as he know it's important for him to go. Jimin come downstairs in a dining room. He see and is there. He greet them and sit on the chair. Mr. Min, how are you? Jimin's son, Jimin, I am fine. Thank you so much for asking. Mr. Min, you had any contact with YoOngI? Jimin looking down and sign as no. Mr. Min, it's okay. He come in sometimes. He have to do all this. He is going to be the and I want you, Jimin, so he don't have to face anything. Mrs. Min, as you said, she said and nodded. Maid serve Jimin the dinner. Jimin eat and he feel the taste, but he continued to eat. After doing the dinner, he greet them and again go in his room. Hmm. Jimin come in the Jimin come in his room. He lay on the bed. He don't know why. He closed his eyes. He fell in sleep. Next day, Jimin wake up. His head is made knock and enter in the room. Jimin see her. Jimin, who are you? He said, and the maid made no one this. She said, then give juice to Jimin. Jimin become happy. Take the juice. Okay. Maids in mind. I tell me, I don't think it's so easy to do this. Huh? How easily the him. She think can't leave the room. Jimin make about look here and there. He start to see a room with a pouch and soon go out from the room. Jimin come out. He is walking in the hallway when see him. She can see Jimin is behaving as she smiled. She smiled widely. She went toward Jimin and stand in front of him. Jimin see her. Jimin, who are you? He said, and Min, your biggest. She said, and come, Mr. Min, what you are talking about? He said, and Jimin see him. Jimin, how are you, uncle? He said, and Jimin, look here and there. He giggled, Mr. Min. What happens with him? Why he is behaving? He said, and look, I don't know by myself. I am asking. I think he is already. Maybe he have Mr. Min. They us. He said. He said. Okay. And become look at Jimin who's don't anyone Mr. Min him in the room. He said and nodded. She signed the maid to Jimin and him in his room. The room is beautiful, is not it? Okay. Mr. Min come in. Mr. Min come in the living room. Also come, Min. What we do now? Mr. Min, I don't know. How can they us like this? Send him back tomorrow. We can't handle a person like this. Mrs. Min, if he go, who be the Mr. Min? If he do, then you will be the like now. And we do YoOngI and then his would be the Mrs. Min. But she again turned her expression into one. Mrs. Min, okay, but we can wait for YoOngI before sending him. What you said, Mr. Min, okay, but I don't make sure no one no harm my. He sat in and go from there. Mrs. Min sit on the chair as she is successful. 2 days pass. Jimin sit on the ground. He don't know what he is doing. He is counting the water drops and giggling. He don't. From 3 days, his ears is and the face enter in the room and see him. Huh? Now no one my place from me. She think, and then the maids come and bow at her. Maid Shungi come back. She said and she nodded and go. Said maid to go. She is coming. She look at Jimin last time and then go downstairs. Yoongi enter in. Yoongi enter in the mansion. He is looking here and there. He think when he enter in the mansion, he welcome by the of Jimin, but no. After that day, Jimin don't talk with him. Also, he saw and now Jimin don't come to meet him. Come and see Yoongi with expressions. You come, son. Yoongi, where is Jimin? She looking down. Yoongi, I ask, where is Jimin? He is in his room, but we want to tell you something. Yoongi, what? His voice is. She tell everything and flow from her eyes. Yoongi heard everything. His eyes widen. He look at her like it can't happen. He don't anyone. He don't do to you also. She said well and Yoongi everything. The Yoongi open. Yoongi open the door. He stopped. He stopped on his place when he see the room is so and Jimin sit on the counting something and giggling. He see he the door and went toward him. He sit beside him and Jimin see him. Yoongi see Jimin and fell from his eyes one by one. The atmosphere outside is like the is coming the Jimin his and giggle Jimin water. He said and giggle. Yoongi see him and look out from the window. He stand up and went to the window. He looked up at the sky. Yoongi, I never asked you for anything. I never said you take my from him. I never for anything. I just ask today one thing. Why? Why with me? You can me, but why him? He is thinking and while looking at the sky, Yoongi, why you do this? The is today. The is asking why. He is thinking while is from his eyes continuously, and then someone hold his hand. He turn and see Jimin. Jimin, who are you? He said, and Yoongi to hear this, and Jimin is saying him with the innocent eyes. Jimin, don't. He said, and Yoongi bent down. And outside the Jimin make about to say him. Okay, Jimin see him while he sit in front of him. Jimin, don't, buddy. He said, and see him. Yoongi see he make a pouch. Yoongi, Jimin, who's Jimin? He said while playing with his hands. Yoongi see him. How can it happen? He leave him for sometimes, and all this he don't even imagine. Yoongi, you know who I am? He said, and Jimin looked up, see him. He nodded. Yoongi, tell me who I am. He asked with a hope, and Jimin, he said, and giggle. Yoongi see him. He don't know. He become happy to hear this giggle, or he don't know. And then Mr. Min enter in the room. He see Yoongi looking at Jimin with so much in his eyes, and with him also. He stopped to see his son. Yoongi look up and see him. He stand up. Mr. Min, what happens, Yoongi? We don't know. How can it happens? Already told you everything. So now, Yoongi, I don't him. He said, and it's so calm to look at Mr. Min. Mr. Min, all right, you don't. We are waiting for you. I signed the. He see him. Yoongi nodded, and Min eyes widened. Min, but you said you sent him back. I mean, Mr. Man, I see in my son's eyes, which is so. I don't want to them. Min, but Mr. Man, I changed my mind. He said, and go go from there. Yoongi, your name is Jimin. He said while looking at him. Jimin, okay, me Jimin. He said, point to himself. Yoongi nodded. Jimin, and you, Jimin friend. Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, why you sit here? Stand up, Min, go, and Yoongi Jimin to sit on the. Yoongi see the. Come he bow okay, at Yoongi and see Jimin, who's playing with the cushion. How it happens? Yoongi told everything. Everyone told him. I do some and give him time to time, like after the every meal. Jim Yoongi nodded. He see the and she go from there. Go and Yoongi sit beside him. Yoongi, it's okay. I am with you. He said. Jimin continued. Soon he sleep. Yoongi carefully him on the. He is watching him with so much emotions in his eyes. How can it happen? It's not his. It's not. Jimin can't have of this from beginning. There is something he know which he don't know. He sees Jimin for some times, and then him and she also soon fell in sleep. Next day, Yoongi Jimin too, and now they come downstairs in the dining room. Emil sees Jimin. She looking down. Hope so she can Yoongi, but she don't know how she do. Jimin sit on the chair and maid serve him the food. Yoongi, take this. He don't eat this. Min eyes widen. Min, why? Yoongi, I take care of him from now on. He said and placed his breakfast in front of Jimin. Min become as Jimin is already start, and if we don't this again, it's slowly. Jimin see the breakfast, his eyes sparkle. Jimin, this for Jimin. He pointed to himself and Yoongi nodded. Jimin start to eat. Yoongi, wait, he said and Satan start to him. Jimin, see this his son really? Jimin, that much? We really don't know. Jimin eat she so many ons. Yoongi, Jimin, I want juice. He said, being and Min point to the maid. She gave the juice to Jimin, who about to, and Yoongi hauled the from him and placed on the side. Yoongi, no, not orange juice here. This milkshake, he said, and Jimin become more happy. He and Yoongi see him a small smile, and Jimin done. Jimin, thank you, he said cutely. Mr. Min, he's cute, he said, and everyone looked at Mr. Min. Yoongi nodded. Well, it's unexpected from Mr. Min. His father, Jimin, let's go, but we play outside, he said, and Yoongi, don't do the breakfast. He Yoongi from the dining room. Last scene, third last scene. And Jimin is running. Jimin is running in the hallway a lot, and now he sit on the chair eating fruits, and then maid come. She see no one is here and went toward Yoongi and bow at him. Maid, Yoongi, can we talk? She said, and Yoongi see her. Yoongi said, he said, she but gave the stone to Yoongi. Yoongi eyes widened to see the stone. Yoongi, this from Jimin room, so he don't with you. Yoongi, you know what you are saying. Emil, she is saying truth. Yoongi turn and he see Emil, who come and stand with them. Emil, I see by myself. I stay silent as I thought. Why I speak in your glad you gave him back. She smiled to see the and one more thing. Yoongi, what? Which they gave to Jimin the food they in there. That's why this happens with. He said. She said, make Yoongi shock. Yoongi, what? Emil, what? That's why they gave Jimin food. Made nodded. Jimin look at Emil. Emil, it's true. They gave Jimin, which is different from us, and Jimin eat in his room. Yoongi, which I give you, she said, and go in the kitchen, then come out, looking here and there carefully, so no one can see her. She come and gave the to Yoongi. Jimin, juice. He see the ant. Went to Yoongi. Jimin, give me. He said, and here, look at here. Yoongi understand everything. Email Jimin. I give you, just give me 2 minutes, she said, and go, then come. And with the glass of juice, she first take up from for Jimin, and then she give to Jimin. Yoongi, why don't you tell this to me if she got to know? I tell you all this. Yoongi, you give me a today. Tell me what you want. I want nothing. I just want Jimin fine, and also she tell what said everything, and Yoongi. So if we don't this start to mid, yes. Yoongi look at Jimin, who is the juice with a pouch. Yoongi, thank you. Maid, no, you give us so many things. You do so much for us. It's nothing. The maid bow at him and go. Emil, no, what you do? Yoongi Emil, you said her Jimin is Emil, no Yoongi, and you know. Why would I do that? Yoongi nodded. Yoongi do all this so she is the one who be the for forever. I don't her. No, he said to Emil, for now, Yoongi. Focus on Jimin. He is important than anything. Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, right. Let's go, Jimin. Jimin gave that to Emil. He go from the Emil is smiling to see them, and she also go from the. Okay, so she understands what's the reality. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Days is a second last scene. Days is passing. Almost 2 weeks past. Jimin is much better now. Yoongi take care of him a lot, and now Jimin also. Much like Yoongi, who's Yoongi, but sometimes he forget the things. Jimin has become totally norm. He talk with Yoongi. The thing is this: Jimin don't remember anything, and Yoongi tell anyone. No one remind him anything. Now also, Yoongi Jimin, who's sleeping after taking the Yoongi decide what he do with him now. He don't leave her. Both are sleeping when Yoongi slowly open his eyes to see the light. He see his mom stand there while smiling at him. Yoongi mom, he whisper and she sign to sit. Jimin is sleeping. He carefully sit on the bed. Yoongi mom, Mrs. Win, she is Yoongi mom. Come now. Mrs. Min, my son, a lot in past days. Yoongi mom, Jimin. Mrs. Min, I see everything, son, and I am here to help to help you. Jimin become totally fine. You know well who do this. Jimin, I don't. Her mom, Mrs. Min, take care of yourself, my son, and don't forget I am always with you. Yoongi mom, I miss you. Mrs. Min, I am always with you. She said with a smile and went toward Jimin, who was sleeping. She placed her hand on his forehead and closed her eyes, then opened. Mrs. Min, he will be fine now. She went toward Yoongi and Yoongi, but he can't. Mrs. Min, call me whenever you need. But now, Jimin is fine. I know. He makes sure you stay happy. He said, and Yoongi smiled. Mrs. Min, I go now, son. She said, then the slowly disappeared. Yoongi looked at Jimin, who's sleeping here again, him and sleeping while thinking about his mom. Next day, Jimin opened his eyes and he see Yoongi is still sleeping. He smiled. Jimin, Yoongi, you come. Okay, so Jimin remembered the time when Yoongi opened his eyes and see him. Jimin, you come. You said you come after some days, but you come today. He said, and Yoongi realized what happened and he remembered what happened. Jimin looked at him with a sparkle eyes. Jimin, you know, Yoongi, I kept the stone here you gave me. I don't know where it's go. Yoongi point on the table and Jimin see the stone. Jimin, thank God now I make the pendant and he said then Yoongi don't give him time to set anything. Okay, so what I do here? How I don't do voiceover on this text. Hmm, it's almost finished now. Also, finally. Here is the. Okay, so please ignore the background voices. My family is just a crazy. Uh, so please ignore. Second last scene and the third last text. I also don't do voiceover on this one. You all wait by yourself. We will count the notification till that, okay? One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Only 31 notification. Like seriously? Wait a minute. Alright, they are literally too much. Once again, they are doing the argument together. So you all please ignore. Even I am in the different room, but still their voices is too much. Hmm. Last scene and the second last text. Yoongi come downstairs to see Yoongi come downstairs to see everyone. Yoongi, he said to the Mr. Min stand up. Mr. Min, what you are doing? Yoongi explained everything to Mr. Min. Mr. Min, how can you believe anyone like this? Yoongi, oh really? The come and place the juice which give to Jimin. How you get this? She said, and everyone look at her. I. She stays silent. It's joking. It's just Mr. Min, why you do this? She stays silent for some time. Mr. Min, tell us truth. Maybe we. Yoongi stays silent. You said you make Yoongi king. I understand, but I don't want to leave my place. That's why I do this. Last thing and the last text finally. Mr. Min, how can you be me for once, please? She said, Mr. Min, Yoongi decide what he want. He sat at and sit on the couch. Yoongi, you feel the with Jimin, do you? Like he do you and all your. She said and she signed as no but and Yoongi, she is your. I give her a gift to Jimin. Mr. Min, I understand you, son, and I don't have any problem. Yoongi nodded and he go in his room. Everything is fine. Yoongi and Jimin is also happy with each other. Finally, a happy family. Finally, it's finished. Hope so you all like. If you like, then subscribe and tell me in comments. Bye bye. Take care of yourself. Sangi, see you in the next video soon. Take care. Bye. This is the last part of the story, and from tomorrow I start a new one. Have you any